Hey, hello everybody. This is Dr. Timothy Elizondo here for episode number 5 of Tim Tries to Write His Philosophy Outline in 15 minutes or less. So let me hit my timer here for 14 minutes and we're going to go 22 seconds. Give myself some time just in case at the end. So last time we were here, I think I finished up my first point as it relates to the philosophy outline. And I was pretty happy with kind of where I left things off last time. So there's my philosophy first point. Nope, let me get rid of that. And I like that. But I need to get to my second point. So scrolling down, if you remember, my second point that I needed to work on is this idea that not studying philosophy is dangerous. Right, and it's one thing that I've kind of noticed in the outlines is students do a really great job of being able to find information that kind of props up the discipline of philosophy as being, developing critical thinking and, like insight, and it's super important. But one thing that oftentimes I see that sometimes is overlooked and not included in the outline, but should be in the outline, is this idea of like, what happens if we don't do it, right? Because oftentimes in argumentation, right, it's not just necessarily uh, kind of advocate what one option is good, right? But in a sense, we also want to kind of measure that goodness in juxtaposition to the quote unquote badness that the antithesis of that position might indicate. All right, so let's get to my stuff. All right, so what I want to do here is not studying philosophy is dangerous. So I need a second point, but I don't want to do this on the same Microsoft Word document where I got my first point here. So I want to chill out this first point, and this is going to be my second point. My second point, and the second point here is going to be somehow the gist of I need to describe the world without philosophy, right? So what happens if philosophy is actually diminished or goes away? And I think here I want to begin, right, with my room number 1. It's going to be like describe right now. Like what's the situation that we're in, and what happens when one doesn't have philosophy? Because I want to contextualize it, right? I don't want to say like what happens if we didn't have philosophy in the 18th century, or what happens if we don't have philosophy in the future. I think instead it's going to be this idea of what happens if we don't have philosophy right now. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go all the way back to the very first episode of this where I made all these different evidence cards, and I'm going to copy all of this stuff here that I have organized about what happens when philosophy is not studied. It's all this stuff all the way down, and I am going to copy that, and I'm going to move that into my Microsoft Word document that I'm working on. And I'm just going to put it down here, and we're going to see what comes up, because that's really all we can do. See, where does the evidence guide us? What does the evidence want us to argue? It's not so much what I believe, it's not so much what I feel, but it's really about what does the evidence tell me that I can argue most. So let me just pull the evidence out, and I'm going in that direction. All right. So it looks like right now we live in a security blanket. We're prone to suffer from psychological predicament. We call this security blanket. So I think right now is, I want to put that here. We live in a security blanket. And I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to copy this thing. Pow. And I'm going to put that right there. Because Ward says we live in, not Ward, Payne says we live in a security blanket. All right. So I can get rid of that. Pierce says living is dehumanizing. Okay. All right. So it's dehumanizing. This is more like the impacts of what life in the security blanket is. So I think, let's see. So to describe right now, okay, I'm just gonna put that there. I think there's going to be another like organizational idea that needs to emerge. So Pierce says we're going to describe right now. Impact of right now in security blanket. Okay, so Pierce is going to say it's dehumanizing. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Makes you prone to propaganda. So that's bad. All right, so it also makes you prone to, so it's dehumanizing. That's more about like a person. So I think I want to put this there. All right. Let me fold that. Okay. Let me get rid of that. Okay. What else we got? What else we got? All right. And we're going to have moral relativism. Okay. That doesn't sound very good. As a parallel doctrine on moral standards, no objective grounds. Oh, okay. Yeah, like everybody's morals are the same. All right. And speaks of doubt, so it's dehumanizing. And what? I think. Yeah, I think it actually is going to go here. Where's it going to go? I'll explain this in a second. Let me just paste that right there. All right, so it looks like I've got this second point so far that says, all right, so what's the world like without philosophy? If we get rid of philosophy, what would we have? And it looks like I've got, all right, so right now in 2020 America, I'm going to argue that we live in a security blanket, that we're prone to suffer from less like what we call a security blanket. We know it's all bad. Like after shipwreck, we latch onto something for a sense of safety, a possession, a person, cherished belief, or a combination of these. All right, so I think under the level 2, it's going to be my own ideas. So if we do live in this security blanket and we cling to stuff, like how can I describe that right now? If I was to talk to like my grandmother and she's like, what do you mean security blanket? And you're like, all right, grandma, here's what I mean. So what are some bad things? It says we're psychological predicament, we call it security. My own ideas, well, we've got COVID right now. We've got a messed up economy. Economy is bad. What else we got that's going on? We got environment. We've got violence. And people turn to, what are people turning to? They're going to turn to social media. They're going to turn to drugs, and they're going to turn to religion and guns. And I think here, it's just, I need a statistic. I need evidence. So, all right, so I need something later on if I'm going to be making these claims that somehow like the number of people who are engaged in social media, this actually might be like TV. I'm going to see if drugs are on the rise. I'm going to see if religious, it's not just religion, I'm going to say like extremism. And also guns, like gun ownership. And this makes sense because Russell's going to argue that, you know, the impact of the security blanket is that living in a blanket makes you prone to propaganda, prejudice, and cultural. So I want to rephrase this. What do I want to put it as? It's not a 2, it's a big 1. All right. It's not we. It's the cultural moment. Living in this blanket. All right, yeah. So he describes that. So we're going to grab onto stuff. Propaganda, prejudice, and cultural conduct. Conduct to deliberate reason. I think here example. So this is going to be again my own stuff. Okay, so how are we going to lose reason? My own ideas. Reason is being lost. We see this in anti-science movements. Like for example, Flat Earth. Climate deniers, maybe. Anti-vaccinations, we could argue. Maybe. I'm not saying I am anti-vaccinations, or I am not arguing that the Earth is not flat. I'm just saying that we can see, and again, I'm going to put, I need evidence here. If I'm going to be making these claims, because I don't want to upset anybody, so if I'm going to be making these claims, I need to support this. Where else do we see reason being lost? I'm going to say political movements, perhaps. Which one? Particular, like, you know, the conspiracy ones. So I think here I might be looking for like a sociologist that's just going to, or like a writer somewhere that's going to kind of support this position that and I'm going to write here, I think I'm going to argue that reason's being lost by social media and intentional distortion. I think that's right. So without philosophy, right, so we live in this blanket. I might even actually bring up this idea called hegemony. Don't know. Don't know. We suffer from, yeah, so we suffer, we grab onto stuff, like social media, you know, these kind of dangerous things. We're also prone to propaganda, prejudice, and cultural customs, and we see this. Oh, my own ideas. I need something else. How about if I add, what do I want to add? What do I want? Rise in hate groups. Yeah. All right. So, I'll make that bigger. All right, what have I got? It's not the world without philosophy. It's like a lack of exposure to philosophy. And it's not just philosophy, it's the discipline. But it's not just the discipline. I'm going to say it's the practice. And I think this is a pretty key idea because I think I want to make the argument that there's something about, you know, going to a college classroom and having an interaction with somebody, like a dialogue with somebody who's well-versed in philosophical like work, has an inherent unique value to it that's not the same as having a dialogue with somebody about the construction of the speech. All right, I mean, just simply because like the questions are different and also like the methodology is different. All right, so second point, lack of the discipline and practice of philosophy undermines the critical evaluation of contemporary social and political issues. Okay, why not? Seems where I'm going. All right, because I'm like, hey, if you don't have this, then you can't like know about things in the same way than you might be if you were able to kind of utilize and trust reason different. So to describe right now in America. So, okay. Has some challenges. So we live in a security blanket. We live in a security blanket. I think I need to support that. So what are some examples? Low burner turnout. Oh, that's all I got. All right, so I need to come up with some examples to like describe how we live in a security blanket. So with that in mind, what have I got? I think I'm out of time, but hopefully that helps as I'm constructing my second point. All right, I'll see everybody later. Bye.